May the peace of the Lord be with you all. Today's Gospel Reflection, July 30th, 2025, Wednesday.
As Moses came down from Mount Sinai, with the 2 tablets of the commandments in his hands, he did not know that the skin of his face had become radiant, while he conversed with the Lord. When Aaron, then, and the other children of Israel saw Moses, and noticed how radiant the skin of his face had become, they were afraid to come near him. Only after Moses called to them did Aaron and all the rulers of the community come back to him. Moses then spoke to them. Later on, all the children of Israel came up to him, and he enjoined on them all that the Lord had told him on Mount Sinai. When he finished speaking with them, he put a veil over his face. Whenever Moses entered the presence of the Lord to converse with him, he removed the veil until he came out again. On coming out, he would tell the children of Israel all that had been commanded. Then the children of Israel would see that the skin of Moses' face was radiant. So he would again put the veil over his face until he went in to converse with the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Holy is the Lord our God. Extol the Lord, our God, and worship at his footstool. Holy is he. Holy is the Lord our God. Moses and Aaron were among his priests, and Samuel among those who called upon his name. They called upon the Lord, and he answered them. Holy is the Lord our God. From the pillar of cloud he spoke to them. They heard his decrees and the law he gave them. Holy is the Lord our God. Extol the Lord our God, and worship at his holy mountain. For holy is the Lord our God. Holy is the Lord our God.
The Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in a field, which a person finds and hides again, and out of joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field." Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflection. There are moments in life when a discovery changes everything, such as a job opportunity, a long-lost relative, a sudden realization about our purpose. In the Gospel reading above, Jesus tells us 2 stories about a man who stumbled upon a hidden treasure and another who searched long and hard for a precious pearl. These are not just about material wealth, they are lessons about recognizing the value of something far greater: God's kingdom and presence in our lives. Imagine walking through a field and unexpectedly stumbling upon a chest filled with gold. Would you leave it there and walk away? Of course not. You'd feel the excitement, the urgency, the desire to have it as your own. Now think of someone who has dedicated his life to searching for rare gems. After years of hunting, he finally finds a pearl more beautiful and perfect than any he has ever seen. It's not cheap, so he sells everything he owns to buy it, knowing it is worth the sacrifice. These 2 stories mirror the kind of devotion and clarity we are called to have when we encounter the truth of God. Sometimes, like the man in the field, we stumble upon faith by surprise. Like, for example, a friend invites us to church, a tragedy leads us to prayer, or a quiet moment makes us reflect. Other times, like the merchant, we search for meaning through books, questions, and experiences until we find the truth. In both cases, the discovery, so valuable that nothing else compares. We often fill our lives with things that seem important: career success, social status, possessions, and achievements. These are not bad in themselves, but they can become distractions if we lose sight of what really matters. The treasure and the pearl remind us that God's kingdom, His truth, His will, His love, is worth more than anything else. It invites us to reorder our priorities and let go of things that do not last. Consider someone who gives up a high-paying job to become a missionary in a remote village. At first glance, it seems like a foolish exchange, But for that person, knowing they are walking in God's purpose is worth far more than any paycheck. Or think about a young woman who turns away from a relationship because it pulls her away from her faith. It's painful, but she chooses peace with God over temporary comfort. These choices are not easy, but they are made by people who have found something greater than what the world offers. The journey of faith is not about losing everything, but about gaining something of immeasurable worth. It may cost us certain comforts, but it fills us with joy, peace, purpose, and eternal hope. And unlike treasures that fade, God's kingdom is one that lasts forever. The person who sees its value will gladly exchange everything else just to have it. So how do we live this message out? First, take time to reflect on what matters most in your life. Are your priorities aligned with God's purpose, or have other things taken center stage? Second, be willing to make courageous decisions. Pursuing God may require letting go of habits, pursuits, or relationships that hinder your spiritual growth. Third, keep your eyes open. Like the man in the field, you might find God's calling when you least expect it. Finally, remember that the joy of living in God's truth will always outweigh the cost. The treasure is not hidden to keep us away. It is revealed to those with hearts ready to see. And once we see its value, the only right response is to embrace it with all that we have. Because in the end, we have not really given up everything. We have gained everything that truly matters.